Hello viewers. For this video today, I thought I could show and tell gamers wanting to venture in sniper strategies what makes BF1 sniping spots work well in better detail. These methods will help not only boost your KD ratio, but be a better teammate and boost your team's winning potential. Along with these tips, you should also spot as many enemies as you can with the trench scope by pressing the right bumper when an enemy is in your sight. You can also use your sniper scope for spotting by pressing RB. Doing this alerts your teammates of the enemy's position on the minimap in the bottom left corner of the screen. One more thing you should always do while sniping is zeroing your distance by pressing the D-pad down. You should choose 75, 150, or 300 meters and change it to this setting every time you respawn. Your accuracy will be based off of this distance, and it will really help you see your shot before firing. My BF1 stats are linked in the description. You can find your stats here as well. Your accuracy, KD ratio, and more are on this website. You can use these tools for advantages and tracking your performance. With Argonne Forest, this map is quite confined and cornered, and the places with the best advantages here have sightlines over popular crossing points and objectives that are hidden, especially the circled area that I have pointed out.
Enemy machine gun over there!
High-up infiltration areas could also work, and a bayonet or melee ambush is useful for cornered maps like these. Since this map is very small, you will most likely find yourself in a situation where you have to quickscope. To perform a quickscope in Battlefield, you have to fast swap to your pistol right after hitting the first shot with your sniper. You are guaranteed a kill if the enemy takes one sniper bullet and one pistol bullet. Hiding spots here are abundant, but any corner that enemies have their backs turned can pay off. For Empire's Edge, there are two methods that I have found can be successful. The first one that I think works best is to use the covered areas that surround the objectives, mainly the trees and rocks that are numerous on this map. Most of the time, you should focus on the enemy objectives that have the surrounding area I described, while your team's flags are behind you. I have found it is best to avoid Objective D unless your team has capped it, since this part of the map is the central convergence area for machine gunners and shotgun infantry. Either camping or moving from rock to rock or tree to tree can give you a good advantage in getting the first shot off on your target, since most foot soldiers usually only focus on the objective alone and don't look for hiding spots in the outskirts and shadows that surround the flag pack. The second option would be to find a place that is close to, if not on the very edge of the map, that has a sightline over popular paths in between objectives or head-on of a capture area.
Un soldato nemico! Là! Laggiù! Quello è un crocco!
In the Sinai Desert, there are a few particular areas that I will point out, because there are a few camping spots that enemy attackers won't look towards when focused on capping flags. Hanging around the edge of the map has hidden areas that cover game trails and objectives. This strategy remains true for not only Sinai, but any map.
Do you see him? One of their soldiers. Objective locked to the enemy! Don't give up, boys!
The map Suez has been extended since my last video about sniping spots, but one of the ways to approach this strategy can still work, which is to remain alongside the map's borders. Similar to Empire's Edge, this map's objectives are surrounded by covered areas such as walls, rocks, and sand dunes. Camping here could be useful if no one is looking your way, but staying on the move works best in most of these situations. After scoring a kill on any player while you remain seated, most of the time, aggressive gamers will seek their revenge on a camper who isn't changing their position. The spots that you choose to snipe upon should have your team's flag near or behind you, so you aren't killed from behind and you can focus most of your attention towards what's in front of you. I don't recommend sniping from the sand dunes on the far left and right sides of the map alone. Whenever I try to shoot in these locations, they're populated by other snipers, and thinking outside of the box or hanging around outside of the populated areas is key to staying alive. Because there's no cover here, I usually end up being killed by charging horse riders.
Bir düşman askeri görüldü.
We have taken objective Duff.
Düşman süvarisi görüldü.
Fao Fortress is one of the most open maps in BF1 Conquest, and it can work in the favor of long-range shooting. In these types of maps, keeping your distance from corners and terrain changes will give you the advantage in fighting machine gunners and shotguns, because this is where snipers have the upper hand. Near or around Objective D is definitely the ideal place to choose your spots, because this area overlooks at least 3 flag caps. Since this map is populated with snipers, staying on the move is essential to not dying. Snipers need a headshot most of the time for a one-shot kill. By being unpredictable with your movements, you can either counter-snipe someone who's damaging you, or find a shelter where they can't see you. Further back on the map's borders also provide long shot opportunities, covering nearly all objectives.
O tarafta bir hasım askeri.
Da drüben, feindlicher Speer!
Amiens is mostly made up of tempting buildings to camp in, but the building that you choose to snipe should consist of these characteristics: overwatch of an objective or alleyways leading to flags, and preferably your team should have the flag cap closest to the building's entrances. The spot I've highlighted works most games, but not every game is the same skill-wise. I have had 30 to 6 games camping in this building alone, so it is worth noting. Even when your team does not hold Objective C, this can happen.
Aufpassen, Granate raus! Ein Sanitäter von der Gegenseite! Feindliches MG gesichtet!
I don't usually use tripwire equipment, but they should work well when placed in the stairways and doorways of your camping place. Alternatively, if your team is holding the majority of flags, watching the alleyways that lead to the enemy's spawn points can allow you to create choke points with grenades and sniper fire. I have found, at least in my experience, the German Empire is the best team to be on. Not only because it is closest to the sniper spot I've highlighted, but this team seems to have the advantage in flag caps and wins in most of the matches I've played. If you are on the Kingdom of Italy team in Monte Grappa, there is a place close to the respawn that oversees up to 3 objectives, which is useful for spotting enemies and long-range sniper. This building is also out of bounds for the other team, which means the only way you can be killed is by being shot from a distance. The enemies cannot kill you from behind.
Abbiamo preso l'obiettivo, molto bene!
The cliff sides are almost always populated with foot soldiers, so while traversing, hug the rocks and watch for descending players. If you decide to place yourself in the close range combat of the capture areas on the mountain, keep your distance from turns and terrain shifts. This map is mostly the extremes in terms of range. You'll either find yourself quick scoping in short distances or shooting long shots across the mountain. St. Quentin Scar has one particular spot that lies along the map's border and aside Objective B. This tree line provides good cover and oversight of the town, along with a defensive or offensive shooting range over Objective B and D. Even if your team does not hold the closest objective, this camping spot is worth checking out. Along with this spot, you should also continue along the out-of-bounds border and find more long ranges and shelters to snipe from. If you choose to use a sniper in the town center, prepare to quickscope from a medium distance and bayonet charge. Corners of this map are the best places to snipe from. Even a no-scope and quick swap to your pistol will earn you a kill. It only takes one sniper shot and one pistol bullet to finish a target. No headshot is needed. Ballroom Blitz certainly is one of those maps that has something to offer for everyone. Therefore, the strategies I have mentioned in all of the maps before this play a role here. Camping in the overwatch areas of the map, quickscoping, keeping distance from corners and terrain changes, hanging around the objectives, edges, and borders, all of these can work in your favor. Because these spots are very situational, you have to evaluate what will and won't work in the match you are playing.
That's an enemy machine gun!